There's a bunch of crazy stories written by the Brothers Grimm. And now you're gonna learn all about them, listening to the Brothers Grimm.
Students and scholars, friends and relations, welcome to the Brothers Dim podcast, where we discuss the curious collection of stories curated by the Brothers Grimm in the early 1800s in Germany, including this week's tale and the last of the foursome of Fox fables, the last bit of folklore of season 5 of the Brothers Dim podcast. Story 75, The Fox and the Cat. My name is Phil.
And my name is Mike.
Mike, how are you now?
I'm hanging in. It's hot as hell. How about yourself?
Yeah, very hot. Although it's nice in my basement. You said it's not as nice in your basement.
No, this is my first time recording down here, and I was hoping it would be nice and cool, and it's not as cool as I'd hoped it would be.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
But that could just be me.
Could be. I wanted, if I may, to give you an update on something, and then do some commentary on the state of things.
Okay. Hit me.
So, as you know, I tried writing a few professors of the fabulist craft.
Yes.
I guess not necessarily fabulists themselves, which is someone who writes fables for...
Huh. I was not familiar with that word.
I wasn't either until doing some research for this story, but as per usual, lately I have gotten 0 replies. I'm wondering if I should lie next time.
in what sense?
I wonder if I should say I'm in one of their classes.
I'm a historian.
I swear when I was in college, I used to get email back from my professors like same day.
Yeah.
And they always seemed delighted. And I'm wondering if things have changed in college.
Perhaps.
I don't know college kids anymore.
That might be for the best.
Yeah, they don't want me hanging around.
No, probably not. What were you reaching out for this time?
This was last week's story.
The Wolf and the Fox?
Yeah, story 74. Where it was also just like half a page, and we couldn't figure out what they were trying to do, and we thought maybe it's a translation. Maybe this is a bunch of really funny jokes in German, and we are just not getting it. Or
yeah,
like I said, they don't want me hanging around the college. You know, like I'd be the old guy in the back of the goth club that when we would go to when we were in our teenage years, we would go to the goth club, and there'd always be an old guy in the back.
Yep.
Or something, or at the bar, we'd wonder about. We'd be like, well, you know, what's going on?
Possibly in nothing but a leather thong and suspenders.
Possibly, but usually just like kind of like sitting in the back with a Bauhaus T-shirt or something, just clearly old. And what happened when we didn't realize, it's like, I didn't know that. Oh, wait, Bauhaus's first album came out. Wait, when? The 70s?
Before I was born?
Before, Jesus Christ, old man Winter over there, but he's just like 40.
Right, yeah, it's like kids listening to Nirvana now.
Exactly. That are, see me in a Nirvana shirt.
Did you get that at Newbury Comics?
Yeah. Yes, but that's beside the point. And I was shopping at Newbury Comics when it was on Newbury Street.
Yes.
Dick. Speaking of goths, by the way, we missed out on what could have been a fun little treat for our final episode of season 5. In that I have one of our oldest and dearest friends, Shannon Casper, is coming over to my house on Friday.
Oh, goodness.
She is getting a tattoo in Pennsylvania. What, though, you may ask, is she getting a tattoo of?
Is it a fox?
It is not.
Is it a cat?
Can you believe it? It is indeed a cat. Maybe we can convince her to post a picture on the Brothers Dim website.
This is taking me back about 25 years.
Yes,
anyway.
Always fun to do a Tales of Teenage Dirtbaggery. But we cannot do a reunion-style show because you and your family are heading off to foreign lands.
That is true.
But with a little creative editing, we can let her be part of the podcast. So welcome, Shannon. Nice to have you here, and a couple of questions for you. Question 1, what are your thoughts about cats?
Well, cats in general, I can explain a few things about myself. I had cats in the crib with me when I was a baby. I've always had cats, and I just got my second cat tattoo. So that probably tells you most of what you need to know about what I think about cats. I think they're the best.
I like them too. And now, what do you think about the fox and the cat?
The fox and the cat, I just read it for the first time last night, and I've only read it once, but it's pretty interesting. The cat is very wise and knows his power, and the fox is a bit of a conceited asshole, right?
He is, although it's funny because that's traditionally the cat role, is being the jerk, right? But okay, last question. What is your favorite thing or fact about cats?
Cats, of course, had much more use to humans as exterminators, so to speak. The cat was very smart. The cat's the only animal that has domesticated itself, and the fox is, still valuable for the fur. So, yes, the cat, even in real life, is definitely the wiser one for that historically, for having seen the value in humans as a protector.
Though again, traditionally a bit of a dick.
Oh, for sure. Which is why we love them. People ask me about my cat, and I'm like, oh, he's fantastic. He's a total asshole. He's great. We like that independence about them.
Indeed, we do. Thank you so much for dropping by and sharing your thoughts on cats and the Cat and the Fox, Shannon. And now, if it's okay with everyone, I would love to take us through the plot of Grimm's story number 75, The Fox and the Cat.
Yes, please.
Once upon a time, a cat met a fox in the forest. The two had a chat. Cat thinks the fox is clever, very much esteemed, and gives a warm hello, how are you now? The fox, however, knows all this, and he's quite arrogant.
Continuing on a theme.
Yeah. After the cat just says the nice hello, the fox straight up tears into her, insults her intelligence, calls her a piebald fool, says, how dare you even speak to me? You do not know how to do anything. Cat says, well, that's not true. I do know this one thing. And the fox said, oh, well, what, pray tell, is that? And the cat says, well, I can climb trees real good. If there's any hounds about, I can climb a tree. I can escape the hounds just in case. To which the fox replies, well, that's nothing. I know 100 different things, and I bet I could escape from hounds if there were any hounds about. At which point, a hunter with 4 hounds rounds a corner. Cat springs up into a tree, and the fox gets torn apart by the dogs while the cat is screaming down, who's stupid now? The end.
Oh, do you have a grade on this one?
A.
I went A-, but
okay.
Yeah, this made me laugh harder than any Grimm story has in quite a while. Possibly since The Mouse, the Bird, and the Sausage.
It's right up there. The moral's it's pretty clear it's a parable, but just the cat sits there taking the fox, yelling at her until finally being like, fuck me? No, my friend. Teach your ass to be rude. I'm perfectly happy with my lot in life.
The language, I laughed out loud. So the first time I read this, I was sitting at Taekwondo waiting for the youngest. And so earlier in the story, when the fox is bragging, Cat says, oh, I know how to get away from hounds. If they come by, I can jump up in a tree. The fox says, I am a master of 100 tricks. In addition to that, I have a sack full of cunning. And so then as the cat's up in the branches and the dogs are setting on the fox, he says, untie your sack, Mr. Fox, untie your sack. Oh my God, just perfectly done. Loved it.
I love it too that the cat was perfectly happy to meet this fox at first and was just like, oh, I've heard about this fella.
Yeah, very clever.
I've heard he's clever. I bet he's nice. Not the case, but she had the last laugh in the end. But do you have a moral?
Continuing on my moral from last week's, the fox and his cousin. Foxes are dicks, pretty much.
Yeah. And they deserve to be hunted down and destroyed by dogs. I think that they're cute, though, so I don't think that.
Oh, yeah, I love them in
real
real
life.
life.
The bunny problem that happens in Terrytown every summer.
I could use some because I have a lot of bunnies. I just let my lawn go to hell because I don't care. And I live at the end of a cul-de-sac, so we have a lot of clover. Anytime I pull in the driveway, guaranteed that at least 4 bunnies will just scatter. Often really tiny baby ones. It's adorable.
Oh, I like baby bunnies. And they know this one trick.
Yep. And also, we also have some woodchucks. And watching them run is the fucking funniest thing I can possibly. It's almost as good as the cat in the tree yelling down, untie your sack, Mr. Fox. Let out your sack.
Roly-poly, or are they just crap at running?
Yeah, it's like, imagine watching a beaver run. They weren't built for it. And there's one that lives under the pool house, and anytime I let Juno out, it's just, one day she's going to catch it, and then I'm in trouble because then I'm going to have to clean it up, but
Well, I hope that it works out well for everyone involved.
Except for the woodchucks.
Well, it might still work out for the woodchuck. You don't want it to work out for the woodchuck if it's an attack and the woodchuck's like, actually, I know one trick. Here's these. My claws are much bigger than yours. I don't know. I assume woodchucks can defend themselves against a cat, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually know. They probably do have like digging claws.
Yeah.
They could fuck my dog up pretty much. I should be careful about that.
Yeah. Foxes being dicks aside, I think the moral is pretty clearly like you can't know everything. There's people in the world that are dumber than you, but there's a good chance they might know something you don't. So there's no reason to be a dick, like you say, about that you're smarter than someone.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be a dick about that anyway.
But yeah, so be careful how you talk to people because you may know a lot of things, but they probably know at least one thing that you don't. And that kind of ties back to, I don't know if you'd come across this in your looking, but this whole thing is sort of predicated on this old concept of the fox knows many little things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing.
The Greek thing.
Yeah. Which
Right,
actually,
yeah.
I found it in Greek and I was like, oh my God, I can pronounce that. It's polid alopix el ekinos en mega.
Do you
Because
speak Greek?
I learned enough. I
that?
did a 9 months of Greek before we went to Greece last year on Duolingo. So I can get by
okay. Oh, yeah.
functionally. I can pronounce like much with many languages. I can pronounce it and I can sound almost like I speak it, but I cannot do it conversationally.
Duolingo is something that Amanda really likes because there's scores involved or something.
It's super gamified.
It's and the dings go, but they're not. It's not in rhythm. There's no rhyme or reason to these loud dings that happen, and it spins up my ADHD.
You can turn the dings off. I figured that Mel's French class was doing Duolingo in middle school, and so it was constant. And like after a while, I was like, "Can you make it not ding?" Oh yeah, no, I can turn that off.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe Amanda doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
ATU type 105, the cat's only trick. A very, very low in the ATU numbering system, and also just maybe one of the oldest fables, at least from Grimm, that is in recorded history somewhere.
Yeah, like this one's very clearly built on a very ancient fable, or at least like even just like a common saying.
I do like too when I saw that one, the through this story is how everyone, like the different parts of the world and then the different timings that they're at, that's what changes the story. Whereas the fox and the cat is the flight part of fight or flight.
Yep.
The Greek story is like you stay right where you are. Just have a really good defense and you'll win the day.
Oh, you mean like it's literally as a hedgehog rolling in a ball? Okay. You know, it's funny. I thought it was just a hedgehog because that was sort of what animals were available at the time. It hadn't occurred to me that it is literally defensively. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea if they have. I assume they have cats in ancient Greece. Maybe not, but they had hedgehogs. But it wasn't.
I would assume because they had them in Egypt.
I mean, cats were on Earth.
Yeah, they got around.
And I think at 650 BCE, they were sailing. People were sailing around. I'm sure that they,
unless they all decided to bag them up and throw them in the water.
Well, yeah, that's
apparently did happen.
It's the same water. What if they float? If the bag floats,
that's how Egypt
doesn't
got
have
cats.
to get very far. Yeah, we do things a little differently here in Carthage. We're just gonna throw this bag of cats into the.
That's how we celebrate Thursdays.
Mediterranean. Okay, let's see. So that was Greece. There was an early Renaissance writer named Laurentius Abstemius. Questioned whether the cat's instinctive solution was better than the fox's, and so rewrote the fable and made the fox win.
Interesting.
Turned it into the bunny and the fox, the rabbit and the fox.
Okay.
And so the rabbit's like speed is everything, I guess physical attributes.
Oh, okay.
And the fox, so now this is early Renaissance, right? So like the year 1200, 1250 or something like that. The fox is like, well, no, brains. That's where the money is. That's your money shot.
Yeah.
There was another one in Europe. There was a preacher called Odo of Châteauroux. He used it as a parable to get into heaven, where
interesting.
The one trick the cat knows is to, I guess, love Jesus. Accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, get into heaven, as opposed to having a bag of tricks like the father of all tricks. That'll get you to hell.
Satan.
Really racist dude, this Odo of Châteauroux. super anti-Semitic, big believer in crusading and genocide.
Oh,
and
lovely.
stealing as many relics from the Holy Land as possible. A fabulist that he's like, oh, he wrote a little poem about you only need this one thing to get into heaven. You don't need a bag of tricks. And then I went down a Wikipedia hole. I was like, oh my God. It kept getting worse and worse.
Maybe he
So,
didn't
yeah.
go to heaven.
I should hope the fuck not. Because he had a bag of tricks. And it was racism and hating Jewish people, crusading, genocide, and I guess also writing little short stories.
Well, I mean, you gotta have some levity.
You got to do something on the boat. It's a
Right.
As we keep moving on, though, 200 years later, 1484 collection of Aesop fables kind of stays in the church, but it softens it a little bit. And then starting around the 1600s, the story, now firmly ensconced in Europe, started moving to the taverns, house parties, and bars.
Yeah.
And which is where that's Grimm's wheelhouse, right?
Enter our lads.
And it was all over the world too. I mean, it was like Europe and Persia and all these other places. I only bring up Europe because that brings us to where we find it in Grimm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of stories of just like a couple of animals hanging out. What's better? Stupidity? Stupidity only knowing one thing, or being fast and dumb, or all these things. But it's just like, okay, there's someone with one trait, but someone with more traits, and who wins.
Right. Jack of all trades, master of not getting away from the dogs.
And sometimes the master of all trade wins. There was one interesting kind of, I saw in pop culture, there was a scene in Pinocchio, both the book and the Disney film, where the fox and the cat are just kind of walking around. They're buddies at this point, a little bit. They're a little antagonistic to each other, but it's
I don't remember this in Pinocchio at all.
Pinocchio is one of those weird movies that it was like 10 different scenes.
There's like, we have to fill this out.
Like, yeah, like it's like a scene for each chapter of the book, which is just Pinocchio now runs afoul of an Irishman or whatever, right?
All right.
And then he does whatever that is. And then in this one, it's like Pinocchio runs afoul of a fox and a cat. And I wonder just if it's one of those things where people saw it on screen and went, hey, oh, the fox and the cat, I get it.
I remember that one.
I know what's happening. That's great. That's hilarious. That's kind of all that I have, though. Do you have any other notes?
I don't.
Okay.
I do have a pitch, but it's not a very good one.
Okay.
But it's kind of in line what we'd originally started with this this fox and wolf and cat series.
Okay.
I think back in the beginning, you had pitched a little bit about how maybe these are all interconnected. This is the same fox or the same wolf throughout. So I kind of went riffing on that. What if this is the same fox? So last week we had the fox and his cousin.
Yep.
And it was a fox tricking a wolf into chemical burns as revenge for having been named godfather of the wolf's new pup.
Sure.
Because I guess that's a curse.
Right.
So the fox's last words before springing away were, "Farewell, dear cousin. May the roasting you have had do you good." So I imagine a continuation of that, wherein the wolf has indeed learned her lesson and is much less trustworthy of everybody. She also seeks revenge against the fox, and an elaborate one at that. So she starts orchestrating this rumor mill, planting ideas in the fox's head, sort of all about the forest, but mostly targeting the fox.
Okay.
About how to go about certain things. Tips and tricks, life hacks. Picture like life hacks, Instagram reels. Like how to escape from hounds.
Yeah.
But like most life hacks are useless or wrong or backwards or take longer than the original thing. If you're approached by hounds, freeze and play dead. Blink twice and you're invisible to dogs. That kind of thing. So the fox builds up this whole reputation of having this sack full of cunning and knows 100 things. So the wolf continues this on. She names the cat godmother of her pup because she needs a new godparent now because the fox is a dick, and treats her to help her in her revenge. So it takes a while, but with the cat's cunning and quickness, she's eventually able to concoct the very situation where she's able to lull the fox into this false sense of haughty security just at the wrong time when there's a hunter coming around the corner. What's more, she's able to taunt the ever-loving shit out of him while he's getting wrecked.
Yeah.
Nasty burns. Open your sack of cunning, Mr. Fox. Not unlike the real burns that he had inflicted upon the wolf in the first place.
Oh, very nice. I get it. Yeah.
Sick burns. So that's where I went with it, kind of bringing the whole thing full circle.
I like it, and I think we can work everything into one big four chapter arc.
Yeah, like a Pinocchio movie.
And I do like the like the epic tale of revenge for the revenge from the from the revenge of the first story to the second and third. There's a nice flow through there. I think we could do something.
Yeah, like up on a hill, the wolf is watching and showing her pup, teaching her pup a life lesson about how to not be an ass. da, 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 da.
And the fucking wolf pup's sitting there going like, Jesus Christ, mother, what did you do? No, he burned me one time. It's like, oh my God.
Then he convinced me he was almost dead.
He's ripped into 4 pieces. The head is still talking. The screams will haunt me forever.
Never trust a fox.
Foxes are dicks. Well, I have nothing else. So if you have nothing else, I think we can call it on season 5 of the Brothers Dim podcast. Must admit, we are further than I thought we'd go.
Yeah, 75 episodes, man.
I'm very excited about season 6. I think we got some funny ones coming up.
Yes, I've been reading ahead.
Yeah, the pink,
which was very confusing.
It's a carnation, folks. It's just a flower.
It took me a minute.
We got a trilogy of Hansel stories, including Gambling Hansel, Hans and Luck, and Hans Married.
Oh,
a new fox story. So
more foxes?
More foxes.
Oh, shit.
The future continues to look bright for the Brothers Dim, he said ominously. Mike, is there a way to reach us if one were so inclined?
Abso-freaking-lutely. You can always get us in all of our episodes at brothersdim.com. You can email us at brothersdimpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Blue Sky at Brothers Dim.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks to all of our listeners. Please feel free to share and enjoy the Brothers Dim with all of your friends and relations. Sleep tight, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.